Okay.
For all the,
voice is not
for, excuse me, I want to make an announcement for all the students. Please listen to the class carefully. If we find any kind of disturbance in the class, you will not be allowed to attend the next class onwards. Any kind of disturbance, making noises or writing on the board, any kind of disturbance, you will not be allowed to attend the next class. So please keep in mind, all the students, don't make any kind of disturbance or any noises. Please listen to the class carefully.
Shall I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay. Today we are going to learn about something related to skeletal system. So related to bones and cartilages. So cartilages we will discuss in the next class, and today we are going to learn more about bones. Okay. So what are the functions of the bones? So what are the functions of the bone?
I'm requesting all the students to please keep your mics off. If I find any kind of disturbance from your side, you will be removed from the class and you will not be allowed to attend the next class also.
Okay. So the functions of bones are mainly they help in support and also protection, helps in the formation of blood cells, especially the red bone marrow helps in the formation of RBCs and all. That helps in the movement and also for storage of minerals. In the bone, the vitamin, the calcium is deposited, and that is the important minerals that is related to the bone. So these are the major functions of a bone. So bone is a specialized connective tissue. Last class you discussed about different types of connective tissue, loose areolar connective tissues, dense connective tissues. So this bone is a specialized connective tissue. It consists of three components. We know that the basic components of connective tissues are cells. There should be a ground substance and also a fibers. Okay. So in the case of bone, the cells will be osteoblast, osteocytes, and osteoclasts. Okay, osteoblast means the cells which are held in the formation of bones. Formation of bones. And osteocytes are also some bones that are trapped in between the layers of the bones during the formations. They are known as the osteocytes. And osteoclasts. What is the function of osteoclasts? Any guess? Any guess what is the function of osteoclast?
Formation of
They help in the resorption of bone. So if you want more calcium in the blood, so the only storage of calcium is in the bone, right? So we go to the bone and the osteoclast will be function and help for the resorption of bone, and the calcium level in the blood will be increases. So these are the common cells of the bone, that is osteoblast, osteocytes, osteoclast, and other cells are osteoprogenitor cells. These are actually work like a stem cells because these cells can be differentiated into any kind of these cells. Okay. Next, the ground substance. The ground substance present in the bones are proteoglycans, glycoproteins, and water. And the fibers which are present in the bones are the type 1 collagen fibers. There are different types of collagen fibers are there. Here in the bone, it is type 1 collagen fibers. So that is the reason why we call the bone as a specialized connective tissues, because three components are present, that is cells, ground substance, and fibers. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, there are 126 appendicular skeleton and also axial skeletons are about 80. Appendicular skeletons. What is meant by appendicular skeleton? Appendix, that is the upper limb and lower limb, that is away from the that is appendicular, and about the axial is in the central axis, the bones which are seen on the central axis of the axial skeleton. So in this picture, this is humerus, This is radius, this is ulna, and this is the hip bone, and these are the vertebrae, this is sternum, then ribs, then mandible. Next we have femur, fibula, tibia, and foot. In the hand, we have carpal bones, metacarpal bones, and phalanges. All right, we'll come across this. And in the case of foot, you call it as tarsal bones, metatarsal bones, and phalanges. All right. So carpal and metacarpal, that means it is the bones of the hand. Tarsal, metatarsal, that means the bones of the foot. All right. Next is the classification of bones. Bones can be classified first based on the shape. Based on the shape, the bones can be classified into long bone, short bone, flat bone, irregular bone, pneumatic bones, and sesamoid bones. So long bone again can be classified into typical and short long bones. Typical long bones and the short long bones. So what are the criteria of the long bone? Long bone consists of three parts. One elongated shaft will be there and two expanded ends will be there. Okay. One elongated shaft should be there and expanded two ends will be there. It contains a medullary cavity filled with a bone marrow. At the center, there will be a medullary cavity with a bone marrow. And it is ossified in the cartilage. That means it is endochondral ossification. So what is meant by ossification? It is the process of formation of bone is known as ossification. Endochondral means first there will be a cartilage template. In that ossification takes place. That is known as endochondral ossification. So it is ossified in the cartilage. It lies vertical in the bone and they are weight bearing bonds and they are formed in the limbs and act as like a levers for the muscle. So these are the criteria to say it is a long bone. So first thing that it has a three parts with the shaft and two ends. That it contains medullary cavity which is filled with the bone marrow. It should be ossified in a cartilage. That means endochondral ossification. It lies vertically in the body. Okay, so it lies vertically in the body, not body, and they are weight bearing. Okay.
What
Yes.
is lever? What is the meaning
Lever
of
is
lever?
support. It acts as like a support for the muscles to act. All right.
Okay.
Then they are weight bearing and are found in the limbs. Okay. So examples are humerus. So it is the bone of the upper limb. Radius, ulna, all these are the bones of the upper limb. Femur is the bone of a lower limb. Tibia and fibula are the bone of a lower limb. So in this picture, you can see that all these bones are placed through the length of the body, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And in all these bones, there are two ends are there and the shaft is present. All right. So all these are the criteria of long bone. So one exceptional case is there. So one exceptional case is there, that is the clavicle. Clavicle. So you know which bone is clavicle?
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is the clavicle. And this one is the clavicle. So in this clavicle, so what is the even though it is a long bone, so what are the exceptions here? It is placed horizontally, right?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
is placed horizontally and it is ossified in a membrane. We already said that for the long bone, it should be ossified in a cartilage. Here it is membranous ossification. That means instead of a cartilage plate, Here, membrane is present first and then ossification taken place over the membrane. So that is another one. And there is no medullary cavity. We already said that the long bond should have a medullary cavity with the bone marrow. Okay, but still it is considered as a clavicle because of it has two ends and shafts are present. So these are the exceptional case of a clavicle. Next, this is so all those criteria is for the typical long bonds. Okay, all this criteria for the typical long bond. We have short long bonds. Short long bonds are actually a miniature of a long bond with the epiphysis at one end only. So we said that for the long bond, typical long bond, there will be a shaft and two ends are there. These ends are otherwise known as epiphysis. Epiphysis. Right? So in the short long bonds, it is a miniature of the long bond, but there is only one epiphysis. Got it? So what are the examples of a short long bonds? There are the metacarpals and phalanges. So metacarpals and metatarsal comes. Metacarpals are the bonds of the hand, phalanges in the hand and also in the foot, you called it as a phalanges. So,
Please explain ossify.
pardon? I didn't get you. Pardon? What was your question? Hello?
He was asking to explain ossify, ma'am.
Ossification.
Yeah.
Ossification is nothing but it is the process of formation of the bone. Okay. So we have two types of template. That is, one is cartilaginous template, another is a membranous template.
Membrane template.
Yeah, some bonds also some bonds are formed because of the ossification over the cartilaginous template. They are known as endochondral ossification. In simple words, I am saying endochondral ossification. In other bonds, some bonds are ossified based on the that they undergoes ossification over the membrane. First, membrane will be formed, then ossification will be taken place over the membrane. That is there's all these minerals, all these things will be deposited over the membrane and osteoblasts come there. And all this process of ossification takes place over the membrane. They are known as membranous ossification. In some bonds, they are ossified, both membranous and cartilage. They are called endochondral membranous ossification. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So these are the carpal bonds. So we said that the metacarpal and phalanges will be considered as a short, long bonds. Right. So this is the metacarpal bond, and these are the phalanges. We have three phalanges. One, this is the proximal phalanges, middle phalanges, and this is the distal phalanges. So all these are actually, they all are the short examples for the short, long bonds. Okay.
Ma'am, in the metacarpals, the head region is called as epiphysis.
We have only one head and the shaft. So this will be considered as the epiphysis and this will be the shaft.
Okay.
Only one head. Okay. Next is about the short bonds. Okay, that is not short long bonds, it is short bonds. The size will be very small and they have a cuboidal shape presenting 6 surfaces. Obviously, the cuboid has a 6 surfaces, right? So the bonds which are seen over on the wrist and also foot, that they are the carpal bones and tarsal bones. In this picture, you can see that these are the carpal bones. Okay. In the case of a hand, the names of carpal bones are, we say that she looks too pretty. This is the chord. Try to catch her. That means this is scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, pisiform, trapezoid, then capitate and hand. All right. So those names you will be come across when you learn detail about the upper limb. So these are these different types of bones are there. Carpal bones are there. So scaphoid, lunate, pisiform, triquetral, trapezoid, then capitate, hamate. Okay. All these are trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate. All these are the carpal bones. And in the case of tarsal bones, the names are then talus is there, talus, navicular, cuneiform, then cuboid. All these are the bones of the foot. They are known as the tarsal bones. Okay, so you just remember that the carpal bones are the bones of the hand and tarsal bones are the bones of the foot. That okay. The name of the tarsal and carpal bones you will be learn later. They are the short bones. Size will be small and they have a cuboidal shape. So the surfaces will be 6 in number. Next, what are flat bones? Flat bones are flat, shallow, plate-like bones, forms the boundaries of some cavities like cranial cavities and thoracic cavities. So, what are the bones of cranial cavities? What are the bones of cranial cavities?
Frontal bone, parietal bone, occipital bone, temporal bone.
Frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital, all these are the bones of the cranial
Cranial.
cavity. So, okay, next, the bones of a thoracic cavity.
Sternum, ribs,
Sternum, ribs,
ribs will be there. Okay.
lunar, thoracic, vertebrae.
vertebrae.
Thoracic vertebrae will not be there because mainly the sternum and the rib. Thoracic vertebrae will be considered as an irregular bone. Okay, so rib, that and the sternum, all these are considered as a flat bone because they are flat and shallow. Some plate-like bones are there and they actually forms the boundaries of certain body cavity. Then what about the irregular bone? They are highly irregular in shape. That is the hip bone and the vertebrae. So irregular bones, they are highly irregular in shape, hip bone and vertebrae. So just enumerate what are different types, how you can classify based on the shape of a bone. First is
Ones which
Typical
ossify
long bone.
long bone, then short.
Typical
What is
long
the
bone,
example?
short bone,
What is the
Long bone.
example of a long bone?
humerus,
humerus,
femur, yeah,
ulna,
fibula,
radius,
All right. What is the exceptional case?
clavicle,
Clavicle.
clavicle,
Then, okay, next classification, short bone.
metatarsals, tarsals,
Metacarpals and
phalanges,
I'm asking about short, long bones.
Carpals and tarsals.
Yeah, very good. I asked about the short bones. They are the carpals and the tarsal bones. What about the short, long bones? That is the metatarsal
Metacarpals, phalanges.
and phalanges. Okay, okay. Then what about the flat bones?
All
cranial bones, and thoracic.
cranial bones and thoracic cavity,
Okay, what about the irregular bones?
hip bone and
bone
vertebra.
and brain.
Okay, very good. So, do you know what is a sesamoid bone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what do you mean by sesamoid?
The bone
Yeah,
develops inside the tendon.
Very good, very good. Sesamoid bones are they are just like seed-like, a bony nodule that are developed in a muscle tendon at the site of a pressure or friction of tendon with the bone. So, because of due to the continuous pressure or the friction of that tendon over the bone, that may causes a formation of a bond like a nodule. That is known as a sesamoid bone. And the largest sesamoid bone in our body is the patella. Okay. Patella is the bone which is seen in the tendon of quadriceps femoris. Where you get quadriceps femoris? In which aspect of your leg you will get the quadriceps femoris? Is it in the anterior aspect or the posterior or medial or lateral aspect of the
Anterior.
thigh? Very good. It is in the anterior aspect of the thigh. You will get the quadriceps femoris. Okay, so what are the components of a quadriceps femoris? Is it a single muscle or a group of muscles?
Group of.
Group.
So
Group.
what are those muscles? What are those muscles? Quadriceps femoris.
We aren't aware of this, ma'am.
Pardon?
We aren't. I'm not aware of this.
Okay, fine. So it consists of vastus medialis, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedialis, and rectus femoris. Don't worry, you will learn all these things later. So the patella is a sesamoid bone which is seen in the tendon of quadriceps femoris. And quadriceps femoris is a group, it's a group of muscle which is seen on the anterior aspect of your thigh. And pisiform, I already said about the pisiform. It is a carpal bone which is seen in the tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris. So just tell me, this flexor carpi ulnaris is in the which aspect of your hand, or I mean forearm? It is a flexor. So which aspect of?
Anterior aspect.
Very good.
Anterior.
Very good. Very good.
Anterior,
In the anterior aspect of your forearm. So patella and pisiform are the common, and we have a lot of another sesamoid bonds. Please don't talk in between the class. Should I continue the class or stop the class?
Hamad, please mute your mic.
So we have another sesamoid bonds are there, but they are not that much important. So you should be aware about sesamoid bonds are present, that kind of thing. You should be aware about it. So patella and pisiform are the common sesamoid bonds. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the patella, which is seen the tendon of the quadriceps femoris. All right. Quadriceps. This is ligamentum patellae, but these are the quadriceps femoris tendon, and this is the patella. Next, so what are the peculiarities of a sesamoid bone? So they developed in a tendon and they ossify after birth. Okay, they start ossify after birth. They do not have periosteum. Periosteum is the covering of a bone. It is known as the periosteum, and there is no Haversian canal, Haversian system, because inside the bone, when you go microscopically, when you go take a cross section of a bone, under the microscope, you can see that there is centrally, there is a canal. And this canal is surrounded by some circular lamellae. Okay. Circular lamellae. Here also you will get a canal and there will be so many lamellae will be seen around the Haversian canal. Okay, this is the Haversian canal. So what is the function of Haversian canal? Through the Haversian canal, the blood vessels passes, it helps for the nutrition of your bone and all. And around the Haversian canal, I already said that there are some sheets of lamellae are present. In between the sheet, there will be presence of osteocytes will be present. So, interlamellae osteocytes are present. So this is actually the Haversian system. Haversian system is circular lamellae with Haversian canal. Okay, circular lamellae with Haversian canal is known as the Haversian system. Actually, that is made that arrangement you call it as the Haversian system. So no need to know more about this in this stage. To just understand that there is no Haversian system for the sesamoid bone. So these are the peculiarities of a sesamoid bone. They develop in a tendon. They ossify after birth and do not have any periosteum and do not have any Haversian system. Okay.
Ma'am,
So,
since sesamoid bones form after birth and undergo ossification, therefore they also do not have a medullary cavity.
No. It is formed before, but the ossification will be completed only after the birth. Okay. Next is about the pneumatic system. Pneumatic system is they are the pneumatic bonds. They are the irregular bonds which contains air-filled cavity. We already learned these things in the last class. Okay, we said about the sinuses and all, right? So these are the irregular bonds which contains air-filled cavity within them. So these are the bonds which have the air-filled cavity. The maxilla has some air-filled cavity. Frontal has some air-filled cavity, sphenoid and ethmoidal bonds. All these bonds have some air-filled cavity inside the bond. So they are known as the pneumatic. Pneumatic, you already get the idea, right? Air-filled cavities. So this air-filled cavities in these bonds are known as the paranasal sinuses. Okay, we said that, right? What is meant by sinusitis and all? The infection
No,
that is
actually, the last class wasn't recorded.
okay, fine. Okay. Nothing that is sinuses means some pores which consist of some kind of air-filled cavities are present. Okay, some filled the cavities are there and those cavities will be filled with the air. So it is not there in every bone, only these specialized bones have these kind of cavities. That is the maxilla, frontal, sphenoid, ethmoidal bones. So what is the purpose of having these kind of air-filled cavities? They make the skull lighter and add resonance to your voice, air conditioning chambers for the inspired air. So all these bonds are seen over the skull. Okay, so they helps in the to make the skull very lighter, helps in the resonation of your voice, air conditioning chamber acts like an air conditioning chamber for the inspired air. So these are the functions of these cavities, and these cavities are otherwise known as sinuses. If there is any infection happens over the sinuses, that is known as sinusitis. All right. So in these bonds, you will get these kinds of sinuses. So they are known as pneumatic bonds. Maxilla, frontal, sphenoid, and ethmoid. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, based on the structure. So you classify the bonds based on the shape. Next, we are going to classify the bonds based on the structure macroscopically. That means in the grossly, you will get two types of bonds, that is compact and the spongy bonds. Compact or a dense bonds, when you take a bond, okay, when you take a bond, so these regions, the shaft will be consist of a compact bone and the tip will be consisting of the spongy bone. So these are the spongy bonds. Spongy bonds means cancellous and they are not that much compact or denser. Okay. So microscopically, the lamellar bonds will be classified into lamellar bond or woven bond. That I already said that when I told about the Haversian system, I said the Haversian canal will be surrounded by some lamellae. There are actually some sheets. Okay, lamellae means sheets. So that can be only appreciated under the microscope, not grossly. So they are the lamellar bond, and the young fetal bonds are woven bonds are very immature bonds are the woven bonds. So macroscopically, you can see that some spongy bonds on the tips, and at the center, you will get the compact bond or a dense bond, very hard bond. Okay. So these are the spongy bonds. These are the spongy bonds. So even in the case of the bonds of the chicken and all, you can see that the tip will be very much very spongy comparing to that of the shaft of the bone. Okay, these are the compact. Okay, you can see a lot of spaces in between. All right, they are not dense. So macroscopically, the long bond consists of a shaft. It has a shaft and two ends. Okay, the shaft is outermost is covered by the periosteum. The shaft and also the two ends are covered by periosteum. So the outer lining will be the periosteum. Then we have the medullary cavity. The medullary cavity is lined by endosteum. and inside that we will get the bone marrow. Okay, so when you take a bone, it has a shaft and two ends. So the entire bone is lined by a periosteum, and inside this lined by the endosteum, that is the medullary cavity is lined by the endosteum, and the medullary cavity is consisting of bone marrow.
यार फिल्म इंग्लिश में देखनी पड़ेगी साली 4-5 पहले।
Okay. So this is the tip will be the cancellous or the spongy bones, and these are the compact ones. Here you get the compact. Okay. So this is the ends, two ends with the shaft. And outermost, it is lined by the periosteum. We have a cortex inside, and there will be a bone marrow cavity. The bone marrow cavity is lined by which layer? The bone marrow cavity is lined by
Endosteum.
Endosteum.
Endosteum. So you got an idea about the coverings, right? Periosteum, not endothelium, it is endosteum. Okay. So periosteum, cortex, endosteum, bone marrow cavity. You got the idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
But there is an exception. That means on each side or each end, okay, they will be involved in the formation of joints. They will be involved in the formation of joints. Both ends will be forms the joints, right? So when there is formation of joints, there will be articulation. So those ends will be covered by the articular cartilage. All right. So the periosteum is absent at the articular cartilage. It's very important. Periosteum is absent at articular cartilage. That means the part of the bone that involved in the formation of joints, that will be covered by this blue area is the articular cartilage. So the periosteum, we can see that the green one is the periosteum. That is entered at, it is present only till here, right? It is not present across the articular cartilage. That means the periosteum is absent over the articular cartilage. Got the point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, mainly articular cartilage is made up of hyaline.
और
Yeah,
जो
of
ये
course.
बोलते
It
हुए
is
तो
made
शुरू
up of
करते हुए आ
it
रहे
is made up of hyaline cartilage, and it is absent. The periosteum is absent over that hyaline cartilage. Got it. The growth structure of a typical long bone. Another thing that is we already discussed, it has three parts, two ends and the shaft. The shaft is made up of outer thick shell, the compact bone enclosing the bone marrow. We already discussed that. The bone marrow, which is filled with the bone, so medullary cavity is filled with the bone marrow, and that medullary cavity is lined by the endosteum. And next, the end. Ends are largely made up of the cancellous, that otherwise known as spongy, and the end covered by an articular cartilage which forms the joints. Next is periosteum and endosteum. The outer surface of the bone is covered by a thick fibrous membrane that is known as the periosteum. Inner surface is lined by thin fibrous membrane that is the endosteum. Both are essential for the formation, remodeling, and repair of the bone. So the periosteum is absent at the area where there is articular cartilages are present. Okay, and the articular cartilage is formed by the hyaline cartilage. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
is meant by a nutrient foramen? It is present near the middle of the shaft of every bone. That is mainly this very small hole which is helped in the entry of the nutrient artery. Okay, so that is known as a nutrient foramen. So parts of a long bone. When you take a long bone, so this is the part of a bone which is before the ossification, the completion of the growth. Okay, so here you can see the normal part of a bone is, these are the two ends. This is the epiphysis. This is the metaphysis, and this is the diaphysis. These are the parts of a long bone. We have two epiphyses, two metaphyses and one diaphysis. Okay, this is the part of a bond which completes the growth. Otherwise, if the growth is not completed, then something else will be present. This is the epiphysis and this is metaphysis and this is epiphyseal plate. And this is diaphysis, this is metaphysis, this is also epiphyseal plate and this is epiphysis. Okay, so the one extra part is present, that is the epiphyseal plate. So this epiphyseal plate, in the epiphyseal plate there are cells will be undergoes multiplication and that may help in the growth of the bond in lengthwise. So once the growth is completed, the epiphyseal plate will be distracted or it will be degenerated. Okay, so epiphyseal plate will not be seen in the case of completed, in the case of adult bonds. Commonly it is seen in the case of the bonds of the children. It is undergoing growth. Okay, so epiphyseal plate is seen only in the bond which is continuing their development or the growth. So here you can see that this is the epiphysis. This is the epiphyseal plates of cartilage, metaphysis, and this is the diaphysis. Again, metaphysis, which is, what is this? What is this?
Epiphyseal plate.
Epiphyseal plate.
This is epiphyseal plate, and this is the yeah,
Epiphysis.
Epiphysis.
And which part is continuously growing?
No, the epiphyseal plate here, the cells are more active. So once the growth will be completed, this epiphysis and the metaphysis will join together, and the epiphyseal plate will be like it will be become vanished. So the epiphysis end will be joined with the metaphysis, so that the bond growth will be completed. Okay. So in this part, you can see that which type of bone is this? Which type of bone is this here?
Long bone.
Typical long bone.
Typical long bone.
Now, what I am asking about.
It is not at adult bone. It's not an adult bone.
It's a growth bone.
Okay, okay, fine. I am asking about the pattern. Okay.
Spongy
We
bone.
already, yeah, very good.
It's a spongy
bone, otherwise known as
Cancellous bone.
Cancellous bone.
What about this? These are the compact bone. Okay.
Compact
So
bone.
this is the bone marrow. And here you can see this is the epiphyseal plate and this is the epiphysis. And here you can see the articular cartilage. The two ends are formed by, okay, the epiphysis. We have two types of, two centers for ossification, that is primary ossification center and secondary ossification center. So secondary means ossification completed after birth. Primary, the ossification will be completed even before the birth. So the two ends of the bone, that means the epiphysis, are formed by the secondary centers of ossification and the shaft is formed by the primary center of ossification. That means the shaft will be completed, the ossification even before the birth, and the two ends will be completed, the ossification only after the birth. That's the reason why you have getting the length. Okay, height increases, right? So that means the bonds will be lengthening at the two ends. The parts before ossification, you will get the epiphysis, epiphyseal plate, then metaphysis and diaphysis. So epiphysis, we know that that is the two ends of a bond. The part of the bond developed from the secondary center of ossification. That means it completed only after the birth. So upper and the lower end of the long bone. So we have different types of epiphysis. Okay, epiphysis means nothing but the two ends. So how the epiphysis are formed? We have different types of epiphysis. Pressure epiphysis, traction epiphysis, atavistic epiphysis, aberrant epiphysis. So it's very important to know the examples of each epiphysis. The first one is the pressure epiphysis. So this epiphysis is developed at the articulating end of the long bone because of the continuous pressure. So the head of the femur is formed by because of the pressure, humerus lower end of the radius. These are the examples for the pressure epiphysis. Okay, so they are developed at the articulating ends of the long bone because of the continuous pressure. In the case of traction epiphysis, it develops at the lines of the muscular pull. So the area where you have the maximum pull, muscular pull, on that area, the traction epiphysis will be developed. The examples are the greater and lesser trochanter in femur and greater and lesser tubercle of the femur. Okay, so the head of the femur, humerus, lower end of the radius are the examples for the pressure epiphysis. The traction epiphysis examples are greater and lesser trochanter of femur, greater and lesser tubercle of femur.
What
Okay,
are trochanter and tubercle?
we already discussed that, right?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Yeah, we already discussed about the trochanter, tubercle. Actually,
Your class.
at the head of the femur and all. Okay, this is the head of the femur, and there will be small two projections will be there. And the peculiarity of trochanter is obviously there will be some muscles will be present. Okay, so this is a greater trochanter, and this is a lateral. You don't worry about this. The trochanter, the tubercle, everything will be learned when you learn the individual bones. Okay, so why we are saying all these things are you should be familiarized with all these terminologies. So you don't worry about it. Now you just concentrate what is traction epiphysis, what are the examples. So when you learn the femur detail, you will come across all these trochanter. Then in the case of humerus, you will get what is this tubercle and all. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't include any pictures of trochanter and tubercle in this slide. So next is about the atavistic epiphysis. Atavistic epiphysis means it is present as a separate bond. Of course, these bonds are seen separately in the case of lower animals. When we have this evolution, what happens is that this bond will be fused with the nearest bond to receive nutrition. Okay, that is meant by the atavistic epiphysis. So actually, when you look at the lower animals, this will be a separate bone because of during the evolution, this will be joined with the nearby bond and it get the nutrients from that bond, and it won't be like a separate individual bond in the higher animals. So in the case of coracoid process in the scapula, when you learn the scapula, the coracoid process is a part of the scapula, not an individual bone. Okay, the posterior tubercle of talus. When you learn about the parts of the talus, the posterior tubercle is a part of the talus, not an individual bone. When you look the lower animals, maybe the coracoid process and the posterior tubercle will be the individual bone. Due to evolution, it becomes a part of another bone. Got the idea? Atavistic epiphysis. So these are commonly asked questions. What are the examples for the atavistic epiphysis? Okay. Next is aberrant epiphysis. Is occasionally present at the unusual end of the short, long bones. That is epiphysis at the head of the first metacarpal. We know that the metacarpals are the examples for the short, long bones. So some bones will be seen, epiphysis, which is seen at the head of the first metacarpus can be considered as aberrant epiphysis. The commonly asked questions will be the pressure epiphysis, traction epiphysis, and atavistic epiphysis. In that, the atavistic epiphysis commonly very important question. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
epiphyseal plate, we already know that the plate which is seen in a developing body. So the plate will be consist of proliferation of cells in the epiphyseal cartilage, is responsible for growth and length of the long bone. Okay, that is help in the growth and length of the long bone. After the fusion of epiphysis with the diaphysis, the bone no longer grow in length. You got the idea? So actually the epiphyseal plate, when you draw an epiphyseal plate, Okay, this is the epiphyseal plate. So epiphyseal plate will be, it is consisting of a cartilage, and it contains a large number of cells which is undergoing immensely proliferating by themselves, which is responsible for the growth in the length of the long bone. Once the epiphysis fuse with the diaphysis, that means the epiphyseal plate absent, it undergoes disintegrate or completed the length development, then no more length will be, no more no more the growth is present in the bond in the lengthwise. Got it? So epiphyseal
Yes.
plate is
Ma'am.
responsible for the length of the bond. Next is metaphysis. Metaphysis, epiphyseal end of the diaphysis are called the metaphysis. We know that this is epiphysis. This is metaphysis, diaphysis, metaphysis, epiphysis. All right. So this is metaphysis. Metaphysis is the most actively growing area with a large number of vascular paths. So when you take a long bone, the maximum number of vascularity is present in the case of metaphysis. So what will be the risk of this area? Maximum vascularity is present. Maximum blood supply is going to that particular area. So the metaphyses are more prone for infection. Okay. So infection of bones are very serious. What is the name of inflammation or infection of a bone?
Arthritis.
Arthritis actually inflammation. The infection of bones are known as osteomyelitis and all. Okay. So what will happen is that when there is some, because of the rich blood supply, the infectious substance can come more there, right? So there is a chance of infections more in the metaphysis. It consists of periosteal and juxtaepiphyseal artery. They are end arteries, forms hairpin-like bands. I already said that end arteries. Okay, so if there is any damage happens to this particular artery, the blood supply to the metaphysis will be blocked, and the blood supply to the entire bone will be blocked. So if there is any fracture, it is very important that you should be treat them very well. So it consists of periosteal and juxtaepiphyseal arteries, and they are end arteries which forms a hairpin-like bands. So next is diaphysis, the part of the bone that is formed from the primary center. We said that the shaft of a bone is primary center of ossification. That means ossification will be happen before birth itself. The diaphysis is the shaft of a long bone, and it is the first part to get ossified. That is the reason why it is from this primary center of ossification. So next is blood supply of a long bone. So the major arteries that are supplying the bonds are the nutrient artery, periosteal artery, metaphyseal artery, epiphyseal artery. So we already discussed that there will be a nutrient foramen at the shaft of the bone, right? So the nutrient artery is a branch of any major arteries which is present over that particular area. So the nutrient artery will be enters into the bone through this nutrient foramen. Then it will form two branches, that is ascending branch and a descending branch. This ascending branch will be go towards this metaphysis, and there will be forms a lot of branches, and it will be forms like a hairpin-like appearance. So you can see that here you'll get, this is the metaphysis. Through the metaphyseal artery, through the nutrient artery, through the epiphyseal artery, they are getting immense amount of the blood supply. Got it? So the nutrient
Yes, ma'am.
artery
Yes, ma'am.
enters into the bone through the nutrient foramen. It forms two branches, ascending and a descending branch. Ascending branch go upwards and form some hairpin-like appearances. Here also, the downwards also, it will go down and form some hairpin and supplies the metaphysis maximum. And so many networks are also formed to supply the periosteum, endosteum, on. So this is the nutrient artery, enters through the nutrient foramen. Here it will move up and down. This is the ascending branch. This is the descending branch. It goes like this and forms a hairpin, hairband. that is hairbands of end arteries in the metaphysis before the epiphyseal fusion. You can see that here there will be an epiphyseal plate, right? Okay. Once the epiphyseal plate is completed, the development is growth is completed, the epiphyseal plate will be vanished. So there is joining of the metaphysis with the epiphysis, and in this scenario, these blood vessels will become an anastomosis with the blood vessels of the epiphysis. Got the idea? You got what? You know what is anastomosis and all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So once the growth is completed, the epiphyseal, the metaphyseal artery will comes and joins with the epiphyseal artery. All right. So these are the periosteal arteries. Actually, the blood supply of a long bone is a short, sure short question for here the MBBS students. I think there also it is important. The blood supply of the long bone. So based on the development, we already discussed the ossification can be over the membrane, that is membranous ossification. If it is over the cartilage, it is known as cartilaginous or endochondral ossification. If it is both is present, that is known as membranocartilaginous ossification. Okay. So ossification is the process of formation of bone is known as ossification. We have two centers, primary center and secondary center. So which area of the bone is developed through primary center?
Shaft.
That means it is developed before the birth. Secondary center, the two ends are formed. That is epiphysis is formed by secondary center and that is developed after the birth. So this we already discussed, that is the features of the bone articular surface and condyle, then facet, fossa. I think this will be more easier when you see the bone and you handle the bone by yourself. Okay. So we already discussed some projections and all in the last class. So I think that is enough.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So this is the coracoid process. So coracoid process is the example for which epiphysis? Atavistic. No, atavistic
Atavistic.
epiphysis. That means what is meant by atavistic epiphysis?
The bones which is only found in the lower animals.
It will be an individual bone in the lower animal, but in the case of humans, it will be joined with
It is
another.
just
Jointed with
fused
the-
with the
Fused scapula.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I just want to ask you the question, what are the individual subjects we will be having in first year? The individual subjects.
So here in India, we have anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, and community medicine. So you don't have exam for the community medicine the first year, but they teach community medicine from first year onwards. But the university exams include the anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. 3 subjects.
Ma'am, is
Okay,
there
thank you,
any
ma'am.
stethoscope in first year?
Pardon?
Ma'am, stethoscope use होता है first?
I didn't get you. Can you tell me once more? First year, like?
Is asking about the stethoscope, ma'am. Is it used in first year? That's what she
Yeah,
asked.
yeah. In the case of a physiology practicals, you have to measure the blood pressure and you should learn the normal heartbeats and all. You don't have any clinical, in India, we don't have any clinical posting in the first year. We have only this lab and the classes only, this section or not. So in the physiology practical, in order to measure the blood pressure, to learn how to measure the blood pressure and to hear the heartbeats, you need a stethoscope, a normal stethoscope. Once you attend the medical ward in the next year, then only you need a proper usage of stethoscopes there.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts?
Acromegaly.
Pardon?
Ma'am, in acromegaly, there is a condition in which the GH increased at a lot
Hmm.
amount. So, ma'am, the
Hmm.
epiphysis plate are closed, then how the growth of the feet has happened?
This acromegaly actually growth hormone increases. We have two types of growth hormone that actually the proper physiology that I will refer and tell you the next class. Okay. So what's your
Oh,
name?
Tokir Ahmed.
Okay, you just reminds me in the next class.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.